Good day. It's June 1st, 2026. Only 7 days left before the Nevada primary election, and thousands have already voted in the early voting period. I'm Jessica Rolla. Welcome to The Pulse. Sam and Joe are on a special assignment today, so I'm your solo anchor. The biggest news in politics for the week was the Republican Senate primary in Texas that completed a runoff election between incumbent Senator John Cornyn and challenger Ken Paxton, who is Trump endorsed. The winner is Ken Paxton, the controversial candidate who was impeached by his own party from the position of state attorney general. The win of Ken Paxton was one big thing the Democrats nationwide were hoping for because, according to polling data, Ken Paxton is easier to defeat in the general election in November, but Democratic candidate James Tallarico. And the Democrats' hope has come to reality, and that shows in various polling data. And it's a big chance to win for James Tallarico, a once-in-a-generation Democratic candidate who has appealed to a good share of the Republicans and independents and solid support from Democrats. Democratic State Representative James Tallarico was a minority leader in the Texas House of Representatives when he led his fellow Democrats to leave out of state in order to deny the Republican majority a quorum from a special session called by Governor Abbott for the purpose of congressional districts gerrymandering. His campaign gained traction rapidly since January this year, when Democrats all over the country were sending him contributions ranging from $10 to $150 as he would not take corporate money. His talking points was on the economic affordability, which he described as worsening under President Trump, and criticizing the administration on basic government safety nets that were eliminated in order to give big money in tax credits for the billionaires. The runoff election between Senator Cornyn and impeached Attorney General Ken Paxton, though he was acquitted by the Texas Senate, was the most expensive Senate primary election in history. More than $120 million in media advertising alone, mostly paid for by super PACs who were doing the bidding for Trump. Big chunks of spending were attack ads against John Cornyn because the president endorsed Ken Paxton, describing 23 years Senator Cornyn as not loyal to him. The endorsement, Ken Paxton by Trump, made Senate leadership unhappy, as this move could result in a Texas win for the Democrats and creates a pathway for a Democratic takeover of control of the U.S. Senate, besides the looming takeover of the House of Representatives. Multiple media outlets are now describing the road to Democratic control of the Senate passes through Texas, and the Democratic Senate Campaign Committee had poured out a lot of money on 6 states where they are targeting to flip. They need to win in 4 states, flip 4 Republican seats to Democrats, and they will take back the Senate. 3 will not be good enough, and because a 50-50 Senate split has a vice president as a tiebreaker as a Senate president. Here are the 6 states where the Democrats can pick up 4 seats, possibly even 6, if the situation in the country continue to get worse, in a perfect storm in favor of the Democrats. First is North Carolina, where a popular Democratic Governor Roy Cooper is running on an open seat that will be left behind by Republican Thom Tillis, who is retiring. Second, the state of Maine, where Graham Plattner could likely defeat Republican Susan Collins. And third, Texas, where James Tallarico is poised to defeat Ken Paxton. Fourth, in Alaska, where former Congresswoman Mary Peltola in a toss-up situation with incumbent Dan Sullivan. Fifth, Ohio, where former Senator Sherrod Brown, the Democrat, is now within the margin of error in the polls, against Senator John Husted, who is appointed to replace J.D. Vance. And sixth, in Iowa, where Democrats in recent polling, both candidates in the primary, Josh Turek and Josh Walz, are both polling ahead against Republican senatorial candidate, Congresswoman Ashley Hinson. The Real Clear Politics magazine shows current surveys that any of the Democratic candidates who comes out winner in the primary can defeat Congresswoman Ashley Hinson for Senate. We'll take a commercial break, so please stay with us. An interview with candidate Mo Dennis when we come back.
For over 15 years, I have defended rights, upheld due process, and will bring balanced judgment, compassion, and unwavering commitment to the Henderson Justice Court. If you live in Henderson, remember to vote in June. And remember, Hendren for Henderson.
Lance Hendren, fair, experienced, and ready to serve Henderson with integrity. Lance Hendren, the right person for the bench. Paid for by the committee to elect Hendren for judge.
Excuse me, are you Judge Mary Perry?
Yes, I'm Judge Mary Perry.
Looks like you're running for re-election.
Primary's June 9th, Family Court, Department P.
Department P, P for Perry.
Judge Mary Perry.
I'm Judge Mary Perry, and I approve this message.
Susie Lee calls herself the most bipartisan member of Congress. What does that mean? She voted to let Donald Trump spy on your phone and emails without a warrant. And she voted to unleash ICE on our communities, disappearing hardworking immigrants and even citizens right off our streets. But Dr. James Lally will never compromise our democratic values to fall in line with Donald Trump. It's time to choose a real Democrat to represent Nevada. It's time to choose Dr. James Lally.
Dr. J is an educator, a public policy researcher, and former statewide lead for the White House highlighted Startup America Partnership. Las Vegas doesn't need a treasurer who shows up for a ribbon cutting and disappears, he says. It needs someone who was here before the cameras and will still be here after.
My name is Dr. Jay Maharjan, and I'm running for Nevada State Treasurer. Vote for me this primary on June 9th.
I'm Scott Black. When I was first elected, North Las Vegas was a lot like my classic VW bus. It needed some attention. Now an awesome new NLV is taking shape, kind of like this. And we're headed into a future where we have the best of everything. Stronger public safety, improved neighborhoods, new amenities, and higher paying jobs for working families. I'm Scott Black, and I'm asking for your vote so together we can bring this momentum to every road in our city.
Welcome back to The Pulse. With us now here at our Phil-Am TV studios is former Nevada Senate President Pro Tem Mo Dennis, who is now running for Board of Regents District 5. Mo Dennis, welcome to The Pulse.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Please tell our viewers about your personal and professional background.
Oh, okay. So, well, and we could be here probably for just talk about
A
that. I personally, my parents are from Cuba. I was born and they immigrated. I was born in Brooklyn, New York, and we moved around a lot until I was 6, and then we moved to Vegas. Been here ever since. Left a couple times for a couple things, and but for the most part, I've been here almost all of my life here in Las Vegas. I got involved in community things, so I'm a past chair of like the library board. I'm past president of the Nevada Parent Teacher Association. So I've been involved in education a lot, and there it got to a point where I was tired of going to the legislature and begging for stuff on education, and so I decided to, with my PTA and library experience, I got to know the legislature, and I decided that I needed to run for the legislature so that I could be on the other side of the table, helping to make decisions and helping with policy decisions. And so I ran for office, ran for the assembly, served for 6 years. In the Nevada Assembly, and then I served for 12 years in the Senate, serving as Majority Leader and as President Pro Tem, and as well as chairing Education and Finance at some point. So it was I enjoyed giving community service. I want to give back to the community, and the other thing is that I have this thing where I can't complain about stuff unless I'm willing to do something about it.
Exactly.
And so that's why I have done the various things that I've done is because I had to step up, and so the reason I stepping up now is because we need to put the focus back on students, and so I decided to run for the regent, and I thought I was done running for office, but
no, you're not.
I needed to run, so I'm running for regent.
Well, what you just said was so important to hear because, we can't complain. You actually have to take action, and you're the type of person to do it, and that's probably why you're back, right? And so what does the Nevada system of higher education, the Board of Regents, exactly do? I was trying to talk to you about that, and what is your definition of it for our audience?
The easiest thing is for some people, if they know what a school board is,
right,
You know, they have school board trustees, and you see them in the
Same thing.
And so it's similar to
Similar.
that, but for the university system.
Higher education.
Yeah, so higher ed. So colleges, community colleges, universities that are public here in Nevada. They're like the board of directors for that. So
Gotcha.
they work with policy concerning higher education, and they work with the budget, the system budget, that you know, the money that they get from the state, and then also the decisions that need to be made with the private money that they raise and those kinds of things, as well as capital campaigns where they're building buildings and things like that.
Okay, perfect. And then where is District 5 located? I mean, that you're running and representing, like, you don't have to give me exact, unless you know, you probably do. Give us some border streets, and I got to look at the map after this.
Right. Yeah. So actually,
Landmarks.
so right now here in your studios, we're actually
Yes,
in it.
we are. Yeah.
We're in the region 5.
Okay, we are. Okay, good.
Yeah. So and it
Perfect.
starts over here. It starts at Flamingo on the south end, goes north to Craig,
Okay, good. I know exactly where
and
that is.
then Lamb to I-15, and then on the other side of I-15, it goes from like Charleston to like Flamingo, and then to I would say Decatur.
Okay.
So there's a little bit of piece of the west side of I-15 as well.
That seems like a good amount of land there. And then with your experience of Nevada state policymaking as a legislature, what's on your wish list that you hope to accomplish for your Nevada as a university regent?
So my focus is on students. It always has been, whether it's K-12 or higher ed, in my legislative and pre-legislative, right, with the PTA and that. And so I think it's so important to I want to make sure that students have access to colleges and universities here in Nevada. I want to make sure that that if they have barriers that are keeping them from being able to access, or barriers from being able to graduate, that those barriers are removed, or we find ways to work through those barriers. I want to make sure that it's affordable for students.
Right, it's financial barriers most of the time.
And I've worked as a legislator. I worked on what's called the Promise Scholarship. The Promise Scholarship allows any high school senior to be able to go to community college for free.
Yeah.
And you have to do community service.
Right.
You have to meet with a mentor, and you have to do the FAFSA, which is the federal aid package. But whatever, if you do all of that, and you still need money for college, the scholarship will fill that. So it removes that barrier that kids think they can't go to college, and that they can't get scholarships or grants because they don't have good grades. Because it's not based on grades; it's based on community service. It's based on filling out the FAFSA and those kinds of things. So, those kinds of things I want to make sure that we're working on. Additionally, I want to make sure that the leadership of the board, that we're able to work together. And they've had some issues in the past, and they've had issues with the legislature as well. And I think that my experience in the legislature will help kind of bridge that gap, to be able to have good communication between the legislature that funds, higher ed, and higher ed system that needs, to work on some issues. And so, I think my legislative and leadership abilities and experience will help me to be able to work with folks. And I've always shown the ability to be able to work with folks, whether it's on both sides of the aisle, and whether it's political. And in this case, it's a nonpartisan race.
Definitely nonpartisan.
And but you have to be able to work with all kinds of people, and I've been able to reach out in the past, and will continue to do that.
And then you talked about mentorship, because I think that would tie in with people who are already, lucky to be in contact with you. Can they contact your office for that? Like, say you need people to mentor some of these students, say now they're all out for school, or they have to apply maybe in the spring.
Right. Yeah. And there's mentors there in each.
It's already provided.
In each school,
Okay,
they have
good.
mentorship programs. But higher ed also works to do that. And
Right.
And of course, I'm always open to talking to anybody. My door's always been open as a legislator. I always, anybody wanted to come talk to me, even if I didn't agree with their position, I wanted to hear, because there isn't anybody that knows everything.
Right.
And by talking to people, that's where you come up with solutions. And sometimes, things that you don't agree with, all of a sudden now you see a different perspective, and you're able to work to come to a solution that really helps.
I think that's important. And is it true that this elected position has no compensation, and it's basically a volunteer position and a public service?
Well, yeah. So just like the legislature doesn't pay that much, it pays a little bit, but this one, you actually get paid $75 per meeting.
That's not bad.
They meet 4 times a year.
Yeah.
But there's additional meetings. But
Right.
so really, you're not really getting
Right,
paid.
right.
So they're giving community service, and it's important because we need good people to be able to do that, and that's why I've stepped up.
Well, that's so admirable to serve as a university regent, no work for the community and not be paid because, I mean, you know that you are, there for the students, as you mentioned, and, it's about integrity and it does take hard work to get elected. And so why do people like you really want to do this?
Well, I mean, my parents always taught me that we needed to, give back,
Right.
that we need to help others.
Right.
And so I've spent my whole life doing that. My parents were always great about, if a neighbor didn't have food, they would take food over
Right.
to them. They were always involved, whether through
Empathy.
whether through church or through community or whatever. My parents,
Yeah.
my parents were always involved, and so I've spent my whole life doing the same thing. And I have 5 kids. I have 8 grandkids now,
Oh, you're blessed.
and I am blessed. But when you're blessed, you also have a responsibility to give back, and
Yes,
so
that
that's
makes
why I have knowing, especially the political environment is not getting any better, and it's getting hard to get good people to run for office.
Yeah.
And but I know what to expect, and I think what's more important is that what I'm trying to do is much more important than any of the inconveniences that come up because of politics or other things.
Right, and it's not transactional for you. You genuinely were raised right, and like you believe in the people and the students. And so we're almost out of time, unfortunately. But so we want you to talk out to your voters out there and your pitch.
Sure. So, when people run for office, they try to get their message out, and that's what I've tried to do. I think it's important that you elect good people that are willing to serve, but also have experience. And every vote counts. The very first time I ever ran for anything, I lost by 62 votes, and so I know how important every vote is. And I'm out there working hard to earn people's votes, and I hope that I can earn your vote. And it's so important because really your vote is your voice, and that's how we as a community can become better. It's by electing good people and by good people getting involved.
Oh, Mo Dennis, former Assembly member and state senator, running for University Regent for District 5. Thank you so much for talking to me today. And anything else?
No, thank you very much. It's great to be here with you. Thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about my story and why we need good people elected.
Yes, I agree. And stay with us for more news when we come back. In the Philippines, where the Senate went through a series of drama since Monday, May 11th, that started with the reappearance on the Senate building of Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa after missing for 6 months, only to be met by NBI agents serving an arrest warrant issued by the ICC, the International Criminal Court, but run through the arresting officers and bolted to the stairwell that led to the Senate session hall, but only to be cast as the 13th vote to change the Senate leadership as president in favor of Alan Peter Cayetano, because he disappeared again at 2:30 a.m. the following day, driven to his escape by another senator, Robin Padilla. Lawyers of Senator Bato de la Rosa filed at the Supreme Court an emergency request for a temporary restraining order, or TRO, against enforcing the warrant, but the High Court denied the request, citing the validity of the warrant of the ICC as a court of competent jurisdiction under the Rome Statute and international law, and the existence of Philippine law requiring the cooperation to arrest and turn over persons who are charged with crimes against humanity. The Marcos administration, through the Justice Department, has now declared Senator Ronald de la Rosa as fugitive from justice. A nationwide manhunt against the senator has been directed to the PNP and the NBI offices. The drama in the Senate relating to Senator de la Rosa continued last week as the majority under Alan Peter Cayetano's leadership, and as Senate President attempted to have a vote in changing the rule where there were 12 of them of the 24 total number of senators to pass a resolution changing the rules that absent senators can vote by telephone or internet-based medium. The minority senators Erwin Tulfo and Mig Zubiri asked the question why they are rushing to vote on the matter when there has not been a discussion yet and no committee on rules has been established yet after the leadership transition, with Tulfo pointing that out. Is the reason for the rush about Senator De La Rosa, who is again absent from the Senate, and is it also because at least 2 more senators will be arrested soon? Senator Bongo and Senator Jinggoy Estrada. Bongo for a possible arrest warrant by the ICC, and Jinggoy Estrada for charges relating to alleged involvement in the flood control funds. Because the majority did not answer the question, but were pressing for a vote on the new rules, the minority, 10 of them present, walked out of the Senate floor and killed the quorum for that day. And the Senate adjourned for the week, and we're meeting again for a session today. So let's take a commercial break, and please stay tuned. We have another candidate interview when we come back.
My family survived a genocide and war before we fled to America. With education and hard work, I became an attorney and activist. We made Las Vegas our home for the Nevada dream, opportunity and affordability. Today, that dream is in crisis. But by supporting working families, small business, affordable housing, and childcare, we will rise again. I'm Lena Hovanesian, and I'll be your champion on the Clark County Commission fighting for our Nevada dream.
Welcome back to The Pulse. Joining us here at our Phil-Am TV studios is Michael McDougall, who is running for Nevada State Controller. Michael, welcome to The Pulse.
Hi, Jess. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
Please tell us a little bit about your personal and or professional background.
Well, I grew up in Nevada. I moved here in 1998 when I was 4 years old. I went through CCSD, went away for college, and now I teach high school here in Las Vegas. And
awesome.
I have the pleasure of working with a bunch of wonderful young people, and I'm also a third-generation small business owner here in Nevada as well. We own car washes, commercial buildings, a few other real estate properties that we've had for our family for generations now.
Are the car washes like close by, or do I?
Not in southern Nevada. No, we're primarily up in the Reno area.
I'm just kidding around. And so there is the state treasurer, and there's a state controller. And in England and other states, they say comptroller.
Yeah.
What does a Nevada state controller exactly do?
Well, very similar to a comptroller. A controller controls your money. So while the treasurer, the legislature, the governor, they set the budget, the one who signs the checks, that's the controller's office.
Gotcha.
That's their big primary task. Our big thing that we want to do is account for every dollar in, every dollar out of tax revenue, whether that's local taxes or federal taxes or what we pay in, what we pay out, and we produce something called an annual report. The office is responsible for making sure that the tax dollars are used effectively, that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. That's one of the major role, I would say the biggest role of the office, but there are a few other important jobs that the office has as well. It sits on our state board of transportation. So public and commercial transport in our state, when we look at our bus system here in the south and the north, when we look at making sure that our stores have products on the shelves and all the semi-trucks and the rail that go through our state, that's managed by the state board of transportation, and the controller sits on that board as well. And then finally, the big one, enforcement of back taxes. So estimates have it at between $900 million and $1.5 billion of owed tax revenue to the state of Nevada. And the controller's office is responsible for enforcement of collecting that money and going after it and saying, hey, you owe us money, you owe the state money, we should get that money, because every dollar we collect from that number is a dollar back into our communities.
That's a good point. You mentioned the transportation, because there's quite a bit of the candidates running for the District F. I'm sure you've been in contact with them.
Heard, yeah.
Justin Jones is, on a side note, I didn't know that you would be involved with that. And what made you decide for running for the office of state controller?
I think, it's a myriad of factors. I think no one wakes up one day and says that I want to be state controller. But for me, it was in part working with young people, being a teacher, and seeing how they feel disenfranchised and they feel left behind, and feeling like their government doesn't care about them. And I'm running so that actually you can be involved in your community, that you can get involved in politics, in nonprofits, in community service, and you can still maintain, your life. And another reason is that offices like the controller, I think, are undervalued or understood, and not a lot of people will be familiar with them or what they do. And I think that shining a light on those kinds of offices, that at all levels of government, that these are important offices. You want the best people for the job to make sure that they're done effectively, because small changes here and there, small tweaks, can make big differences in the lives of every Nevadan.
Yeah, I agree. I think that it is probably undervalued just because you don't hear it as much as being. I think it's important. I think it's a quiet role in many ways, or not popular, but say you hear treasurer, you hear, people just look at titles a lot if they don't do their research and homework. So I'm glad that you're here on the show, because you're explaining it very clearly, and you're an educator. That's part of the battle. Like, you actually teach, so that's half the battle. Your communication style is very clear.
Yeah, and I appreciate you letting me have the platform to tell your folks that about what the controller's office does, why it's important, and why these even offices down ballot matter in every election, right? Primary and general, and you always want the best people to be doing the jobs that serve the community.
Correct. And then, so unfortunately, we're almost out of time. However, what would you say directly to the voters out there, Michael? This is your pitch.
Well, early voting in Nevada has already started. The primary is June 9th. I am Democrat Michael McDougall, and I would really appreciate your support. If you believe in a Nevada that works for everybody, if you believe in a government that's transparent and efficient and accountable to the people, you support all of those things, I'd really appreciate your support at the ballot box.
Michael McDougall, running for state controller in the Nevada primary. Thank you so much for talking to me today, and good luck on your race.
Thank you very much.
And to our viewers, please join us again next week here at The Pulse. Thank you for watching, and God bless your week.